it is not in the penetration, but in the density.
Good.
So the numbers, the good news is in the density.
Good. Correct. The good news is in this density, and there's one point to bear in mind, which is around what we currently are seeing. You talked about inflation. You talked about consumer spending. You also talked about high interest environments. So one thing to look out for in the short term for the insurance industry, in my view, is that we will see a case where interest rates will come down at some point, when it is cut, maybe the next 1 or 2, 3 MPC meetings. So what that should do to the overall economy is to stimulate credit to the private sector. So once we see increasing credit to the private sector, most likely we will see increasing revenue or premium income for the insurance industry. Because over the past 10 years, if you plot the graph, what you find is a strong correlation between credit growth and insurance premium in Nigeria. So if we have a turn and like an upside in terms of when the cycle turns, when we have lower interest rates, insurance are going to benefit from that.
I've heard a number of, and this is where we're coming from, looking like we're coming from, or historically speaking, from the business insurance part of life, which is trying to target big businesses and big companies for insurance. But I keep hearing about micro insurance. Do you think that's where the icing is on the cake?
It is, and it speaks to density. And it also speaks to, you and I, on the street, and also other unpenetrated parts or portion of, the consumer life. So we have a lot of businesses, small, medium businesses that are not insured as I speak, and we have a lot of Nigerians on the streets that make good income. But because of the poor, sense of data in this country, we don't have a sense around what they earn. You don't know what they pay in tax, if at all they pay taxes. So you have little or no understanding of what they can do or contribute or pay in premium income to the insurance businesses. So these are some of the areas that they can also penetrate. Micro insurance is going to be more popular, in the nearest future. By the time we have, more penetration, like global players coming to this country and playing the game the way they play it in their own country, using data, using technology, and using other sources or means of penetrating the market. These are some of the things that could change in the industry in the coming years.
So if we bring it down to the insurance stocks listed, do you think there are strategies here for these insurance stocks investing? Because it looks like that sector is often overlooked.
It is overlooked because of, one, little or no transparency in terms of how the insurers report their numbers. Number two, they are late in reporting the numbers. But there are 3 of them at least that I like. That speaks to Considered and Allied Insurance, AXA Mansard, and Ahiko Insurance. So these 3 are sort of different on that front, and they have good strategy. They have a better sense around penetrating into the retail segment of the market. Ahiko is a leader on that front. How about the institutional businesses? Custodian takes the lead on that. And Leadway, although not listed, is playing the annuity market very well and also playing the retail pension segment of the market attractively. So I like them on those fronts. But the others, I'm not really keen on them because of late reporting, little or no access to management. Some of these 3 I mentioned, you easily can access management. We
have about 3 minutes to end this conversation. If I have money from a PFA or a private equity or just an individual who makes a lot of money, and I think, look, I could see an insurance company that is not listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and I could approach them and say, look, I think there's a market here. I'm bringing in X, Y millions of naira, or perhaps something close to $1 billion naira to invest as a private equity money, not just necessarily listed on the exchange. That's the flip side of that conversation. You think that market is still just lying there, and that's where these foreign companies are targeted?
Yes, I agree that the market is there, and they are targeting it. But the challenge is that some of these guys are not known because they are not in the public eyes. So one has to dig further, visit them, talk to management, but they exist. That's the truth.
You mean the small insurance
companies
that are not listed
exist.
on the
They
stock
exist.
exchange?
Yes, they exist. And, so the value you could drive is, number one, customer base they already have. Number three is the kind of partnership that they currently have that you can ride on, in terms of underwriting big ticket risks. And we speak here about oil and gas risk, which is where, a lot of them make money in terms of underwriting income. So these are some of the areas that any foreign investor, coming into the market to target an unlisted insurance company can look into.
What if I'm a Nigerian, like someone like you, who has deep pockets? So I can see opportunities here rather than challenges.
So there are lots of opportunities. It is just for them to have the right strategy. So I look more at the opportunities because as I speak, I talked about penetration being low. I talked about density also being low. What it means is that at some point in the future, we could see a turnaround of the sector as penetration increases and also as density improves. So what it takes is for them to have the right strategy to penetrate into the retail segment of the market. And that is where the money is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh, you're telling me where money is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. I'm going to take a quick look at that. Thanks for telling me where the money really is. For showing me where the money is. And of course, we have so many viewers listening to Tajuddin Ibrahim from Chapel Hill, Denham, about where there is money to be made in the insurance market. Do have a great weekend and enjoy your holiday. It's going to be a long one for those of you out there. Let's come back to the stock markets. What are the trading strategies for this holiday period? Let's talk about that when we return.